Welcome back to the Coaches Show, the season finale of season one with head coach David Schuster of your Mission Prep Royals. I'm Brian Stanley. Been here all season long with Coach. Coach, a tough game Friday night in Bakersfield against the Drillers, number 2 team in Division II, going against your number 10 Royals. Final score was 28-16. Doesn't quite reflect the game as a whole. At the break, you held the Drillers to only 7 points. While putting up 3 of your own from a boot from Jack Susank. And then late in the fourth quarter, it was 21-16. First off, talk about this game as a whole and the battle that took place there at Griffith Field.
I mean, it was a fantastic game. The kids battled incredibly hard. We knew it was going to be, one of those games where everybody had to, our A players had to play better than their A players, our B players had to play better than their B players, and kind of all the way down. Like, our kids had to be better for one night. We had to steal 2 possessions, at least 2 possessions. We had to find a way to do it. We had to average 3.5 yards per carry. We really had to find a way to establish control and limit their opportunities on offense because they're so explosive and so fast. And we kind of did it. And then in the crucial areas when we had to have it, we couldn't get it done. And, the reality is they made more plays in crucial moments than we did. It kind of works that way sometimes, and especially when you got a tougher opponent, a bigger opponent who's faster than you. You got to play almost perfect football. And we, and again, in a couple categories, we pulled it off. And then, the reality is for us, we had to have the run game consistently working, and it wasn't. It was there in spurts. We'd get 9 yards, we'd get 7 yards, and then we'd get 1, 1, 1. And it's like you can't build a drive off of that. And the reality was, I don't think people understood. We could throw the ball deep on them because it was, for our quarterback, it's 1, 2, 3 balls out. And our guys are great athletes. They can go elevate, and our guys on the outside are really tall. And they can do a good job of elevating and getting the ball and coming down with those jump balls. But anything that was short, I don't think people understood how incredibly fast this Bakersfield defense was. They came downhill so hard. And the 2 plays where we did throw it short, our guys got absolutely smacked both times. It was like they caught the ball and they're getting freaking blasted in 3 different directions. Connor Lopez got knocked out of the game on the one little flare out play that we threw to him. He caught the ball and instantly just got smacked. And trying to put together a short passing game like that against that team with that speed, we didn't really have the personnel to do it. We couldn't really block it very well up front, and our kids just really weren't in a position where they could catch that ball and go make plays. So we really had to establish the running game. It had to work, or it was going to be a long night for us. And so, that's how you end up in a situation where we're calling trick plays and trying to find ways to get the ball down the field. And those plays worked for us, and they kind of sustained us a little bit. But the reality is, we're a power run team. We're a power team in general. And they took away, some of our best plays, and we couldn't find one that can consistently work. And you got to tip your hat to their defense, to the way that they played and everything they did up front. They gave us a couple looks that gave us problems. And we made some adjustments, and that's, we get some yards and we get some things breaking, and then they'd have another adjustment and things close back up again. And so they did a great job coaching against us. Our coaches coached incredibly hard. We left that game heartbroken, but I felt very much at peace with everything that we did on the field. Nobody doubted our effort. Nobody doubted the execution. Nobody doubted anything that we were doing. I felt very much like we emptied the chamber. We pulled everything we could to try to make this thing work. And every kid punched as hard as they possibly could, did everything they possibly could. And we left the field going, man, we're exhausted, we're done. And we gave it our absolute best shot with the best team in school history. And we came a minute 50 away from pulling this thing off. And I'm very, very proud of the team. I'm very much at peace with what happened. It wasn't meant to be. There was just a couple things that by the end of the game, you could just kind of sense and feel, hey, you know what, this is as far as we're supposed to go. And I'm very proud of the group. I'm so proud of the team and the staff. Very, very thankful for the effort they put in.
And you looking on that offensive side of the ball real quick, Coach, and you talk about the struggles of running the ball. Jack Susink had one of his limited performances of the year with only 40 yards on the ground, but you were able to find a spark in the second half with freshman junior varsity call-up Isaiah Hernandez, 4 carries, 74 yards, including a 60-yarder and 2 touchdowns, your only 2 touchdowns of the game, Coach. And talk about just his performance as that freshman call-up and the impact he's going to bring to this program for the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, Jack and Drew have kind of been our 1-2 punch all year, and they both kind of got little spurts, but they were keying so hard on Jack. And you could just tell Jack was really having a hard time getting through the hole and getting yards, and they were doing a fantastic job of one kid was hitting high, one kid was grabbing his legs and just kind of stopping his progress, which was something I don't think anybody had really done all year. And, Jack's an absolute warrior. It never affected him. He maintained a great positive mindset the whole game. At the end of the game, he's still fighting and competing. And, Drew was getting little slivers here and there, and then he's getting shut down as well. And they're doing a great job of keying on both. We spotted them 7 points in the first half. That very first drive, we fumbled the snap, we basically spot them 7. And that kind of, it just, the fact that we couldn't consistently drive back and drive all the way down the field like we wanted to had a big impact for sure. We put Isaiah in, honestly, because I didn't put Isaiah in earlier in the game just because, or in the Lamore game, because he's a freshman. You're just kind of going, all right, like this is a much higher level of competition. We knew in practice, like, man, this kid is really, really good. But there's always, I've done this before. Like you put in, really, really good freshmen or sophomores, put them in the game, and all of a sudden the reality of the game just kind of hits them, and they don't do very well, or they get smacked, and now you're dealing with the loss of confidence, kind of that thing. So I was a little hesitant to put Isaiah in. I didn't really want to put him in a situation where I felt like he wasn't going to succeed. But Jack was really tired at one point in that third quarter. Drew wasn't really having the success he normally had, and I kind of was like, well, if there was ever a time to just put him in and see what happens, we need something. And Isaiah might be the spark we need. And, it's very much a conversation on our staff. This kid can do some things that people don't understand. He is really special. So we put him in, and that very first run, he hits the hole incredibly fast and instantly makes contact and rolls over the guy and gets like 4 yards, and was like, hey, and you could just tell it was like a burst of energy.
Yeah.
And the play hit, and it was like, okay, hey, screw it, let's run the same play again. And he runs over a couple more kids, gets into the end zone with a burst of speed and power that I don't think they were really used to, and certainly not from us. And that kind of re-inspired everybody. His third run, the 60-yarder, was the one that I was just going like, oh man, maybe I should have put him in a lot earlier in the game. He outran. Again, I'm trying to let everybody process how special this was. That Bakersfield defense was so fast. It was hard for us to do just about anything. And he's a 14-year-old freshman, and he outran that entire Bakersfield defense. And and they got dudes on that field. And it was just, as soon as he broke it, it was just like the staff, the kids, everybody was like, we got a dude. And so it was very, very exciting, where you're just kind of, you're sitting there and you're looking at, we're losing Jack Susek, but you've got Drew Harrigan kind of leading the way next year, and Isaiah and George Kardashian and Isaac Townsend at fullback, and a number of other young men that have been major contributors on JV or had smaller roles on varsity just because of this monster senior class. That you sit there and you look and you get excited, going like, hey, we will definitely have a running game next year, and that's exciting to see. I was happy for Isaiah. I was happy that he had that moment. We needed it. I was happy that the team got to see it, and especially when everybody was keying so hard on Drew and Jack, and rightfully so, because both of them are really special. Somebody else had to make a play, and the fact that Isaiah got to have that moment was very cool.
You talk about the returners on offense. I just want to plug two more in there. The connection of Colby White to J.J. Howard is coming back next year, as well as J.J. Howard had 92 yards on 2 catches from Colby White. Both will be seniors next year on next year's campaign. So let's talk real quick. If you want to see the work of Isaiah Hernandez, just go ahead and jump on prepsportsnetworks.com or check out the rest of our Twitter feed, YouTube feed for the replay of that game. And you can check out his second half performance. I saw him, real quick, Coach, I saw him on the JV game, Slowtown Showdown, put in some work. And then I saw him get called up for that first game in Lemoore. And I got a little excited, a little goosebumps on me for knowing that he can do just as much damage as Jack Susek or Harrigan or any of your other backs that were already on varsity. So all you were doing is adding another bullet to the chamber there. So a good call up, in my opinion. Let's talk about that defense of yours. Your defense put in a lot of work containing the Drillers, and they did a great job. A lot of young guys doing some work. Mario Loera, 9 tackles. Drew Harrigan, 8 tackles. Gabe Rodriguez, 7. Isaac Townsend, a sack and 6 tackles. David Loera, 6 tackles. Connor Lopez, 6 tackles. And then we go to your seniors, give them some props. Caleb Alalim, 8 tackles. Eli Gardenas, a sack and 4 tackles. And then Caden Elmerick with an interception, the only interception of the game on both sides. This defense worked really hard all game to keep this game close, because Bakersfield's been known to run over opponents when they get their offense rolling.
I can't really, honestly, the two sides of the ball that kept us in the game were special teams and defense. And that's kind of been the case all year. Offense has had, and I call the offense. We've had every game this year, offense has been dominant. Offense has been able to get the job done, but that happens because our special teams just doesn't make mistakes, and our defense is always in the right gap, always in the right spot. They are so well coached. They are extremely disciplined. They are very, very physical, and they basically put everybody in a position where, and this has been our philosophy for a long time. Everybody else will make mistakes. We just want to make sure we're not the ones making them, and we're going to capitalize on those mistakes. And whether it's bad play calls or in bad times, or kids running the wrong route, or kids hitting the wrong gap, or just like some combination. There's too many dynamics where you're going to call enough plays and kids aren't going to be in the right spot, and that's an opportunity for our defense to just make an opportunity and create chaos for the offense. And so and they've been doing it all year. We've had this thought all year long. We don't really know of anybody who could consistently drive up and down the field on our defense. And we've made a lot of decisions in games based off of, we know for a fact they can't drive up and down the field 2 or 3 times and score. We don't give up anything deep. We keep everything in front, and it just kind of suffocates everybody, puts a lot of pressure on everybody. And especially when the run game gets going, now you're sitting there and you see a lot of teams start panicking and go, hey, we got to make some plays. We can't stop the run game. We can't score. We can't move the ball. And then you start seeing people make irrational decisions. And at that point, you've got full control of the game. So our defense just did an incredible job. We were getting beat up front a little bit, but everyone was so valiant. And so you're seeing, you'd see this huge wave initially on the line of scrimmage, and they're running the football, but then everyone is just, they've got such a warrior spirit. Everyone's fighting off that block and making a tackle for 1 yard. And it's like, that only happens when you've got all 11 fully committed to the process, to the plan, and to each other. Caden Elmerich's pick was a huge deal. We really limited Tybo Rogers. He was the biggest concern. Obviously, 22 is a really, really special athlete, like Pac-12 level athlete. And he had a couple plays where, he's just a far better athlete than everybody on the field, but he didn't break anything big on us. Special teams, we did a great job of really containing him and the rest of those guys. They tried to get on the perimeter a lot. And between Caden Elmerich and Grant Callahan and Mario Loera and George Kardashian, those guys, and Jack Susek, we kind of spilled everything on the outside and everybody rallied. And I think you could just see them getting really, really frustrated over the fact that they were not able to sustain consistent drives. And it wasn't until they went to empty we had 2 kids injured at that point. Jacob Butler's not in the game. Jacob Butler, I think, being the Mike probably makes a big difference in this situation where when they went to empty and it kind of created an open box. And then Ty Montero starts running the football, and he's such a physical runner. I think it's probably the one thing he does better than anything else. I think he's a better runner than thrower, and he's not a bad thrower at all. That was the one adjustment we just didn't have an answer for because we didn't have the bodies at that point to match up. And they're getting two linemen on our linebacker, and Ty's got space to run, and it just created bad angles for us on defense. We couldn't stop it, and that kind of ended the game. That was the one play we didn't have an answer for. Everything else we were in a great position for. Special teams, Doug May has been our special teams coordinator all year. And he's been absolutely incredible, done a great job of creating identity with that group. And, in some programs, special teams is not a lot of fun to be on. With Coach May running that whole deal and as much fun as he has with it and the names that he gives each group and, kind of the vision and the identity that each group has, those guys really, really love being on kickoff and kick return and punt. And it's something that we really take great pride in. Especially because we've noticed over the years, a lot of coaches don't like coaching special teams because it's not fun or it's not sexy or whatever. And so we've found over the years it's something we can take advantage of. And we did Friday night. We had a fake punt. We had a couple other fake punts ready to go. The looks weren't there, but we got a fake punt with Jack straight up the middle. And, the look was there. It looked great. And Jack had a lot of yards there. It was awesome. There was just opportunities for us where, punt was great. They had no returns. We had several returns. Just a lot of different things. Our guys were constantly in the right position because they listen. They're very well coached. The rest of this coaching staff has done an incredible job of coaching up their guys all year, and that's what kept us in the game. And so. And that's been the case all year long. You look at the scores; it's been 7-6, 0-0-0, and I think that's that'll be consistent again next year. We build this team based off of defense and special teams, and then fill in the gaps on offense. So we're excited about it, and very thankful for the work everyone did.
Again, the final score of the Drillers versus the Royals is 28-16. The Royals finished the season 10-1. The loss snaps an 11-game winning streak dating back to the spring of 2021. I want to thank our sponsor of the Coaches Show all season long, Central City Motorsports, home of AutoFlex air ride suspension, ramping up fund for heavy duty excitement. They'll work on your RV and get it ready for your next trip out, and they'll get it ramped up and ready for some heavy duty excitement. Trust me, they do some quality work over there. Give them a call at 805-345-3080 or visit them at centralcitymotorsports.com. Your RV and RV trailer, recreational vehicles, all that and more. Coach, I saw one of the most precedent things after the game on the field between the Drillers and the Royals. As you go into your team huddle prayer post-game, the Drillers come over and surround your team and show nothing but love for the effort that you guys put out on the field. And I've never seen that before in a playoff game. I've seen it kind of locally between like Santa Maria rivals, you know, they kind of show some love after the game, but never in a situation like that where you have two teams that just battle it out to the end. Talk about how you felt about that moment, Coach.
In the moment, I was heartbroken. You know, I think, you know, the part that I had a hard time accepting in that moment was that this team had no weaknesses. You know, like there wasn't any kid where you could sit there and be like, hey, we have a great team, but this issue over here, or this kid over here, or this coach over here, like there was none of that. This team was so dialed in. Any issues that we had been resolved many, many weeks ago. They were in such a great space mentally. You know, the bus broke down earlier in the day.
That is true.
The kids handled it so great. And I just remember sitting there thinking, man, I'm looking at this team handling it in such an awesome way. And the way the community rallied, you know, we had like 30 cars at one point right there on the road. Like, hey, what do we need? Like, I mean, it was awesome. And I just remember sitting there thinking, we're going to go up, we're going to show up at Bakersfield, we're going to beat this team, we're going to shock everybody. And these kids are in such a great spot mentally. And we finished that game, and it was hard to process that, hey, the season's over and this team is done. And it was a team that I felt like, man, they deserved something different. And so in that moment, they came walking over, and I just, you know, I wasn't in a great mood at that point. We were all very respectful, but I think everyone was heartbroken, and it was just kind of hard to process that, like, this team, as tight-knit as they were just a solid wall, man. There were no weaknesses in the wall, and we were done. And it happens in football sometimes, and that's what's hard to process sometimes. But as more and more time has gone on, and I've become very much at peace with the game and everything we did in the game and the way we battled and fought and the way we coached. I mean, we coached like I've never been more tired after a game, to be honest. And I had a moment to kind of reflect and look back, and I watched it on the live stream and watched them walk over, and I was like, that's actually a pretty cool moment for us and for them. You know, I got great respect for that staff. I know a couple of those coaches, and I got great love for those guys. I think kind of leading up to the week, they understood we were a very disciplined, very organized, very well-coached team. And we told all our kids, hey, they're going to be well-coached. They're going to be very physical. And, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of trash talking in the game. They were very respectful towards us. Our kids obviously were very respectful towards them. And you know, as soon as we got there, you know, we were an hour late, and they were basically like, take as much time as you want. So I just, the whole tone, the whole evening was very much, you know, it was a hard fought. It was an absolute battle. And I think they had great respect for the fact that we pushed them to the brink, you know, with a minute 50 left in the game. That game's still very much in doubt. And I think they had great respect for it. And, you know, we appreciated the gesture. It was great. And, you know, and to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a public school do something like that before in all my years of coaching. And, you know, my principal, I know, felt very strongly about, you know, that gesture that they had. And I know it was special for him too, and he's got a lot of roots in Bakersfield. So I don't know, it was a weird dynamic in the moment, and the more and more time that has gone on, it was like, all right, that was actually very cool, and, but we were heartbroken, and it was hard to process that we're done, and it happens. So.
Well, Coach, I know it's a heartbreaking moment, but in the end, I feel like the stronger team ultimately won, and I came to peace with that as well. I'm a little uneasy because I have this Friday off and nothing to broadcast, and I'm a little lost. But I do want to share two nuggets of gold on my end. Friday before the game, Colby White's uncle caught me in the parking lot to have a conversation with me. Not knowing who he was, he approached me, asked, and then we started a conversation, and it ended with, "Can I get a selfie with you?" So that made me feel special. And then after the game, one of your students that was at the game comes running up to me, has a conversation with me, and then his mom comes up, "Can I get a photo with you and him?" Like, so somehow I'm turning into a mission prep celebrity. I don't want to say a minor celebrity, but around campus, people are starting to notice who I am. It's nice and it's humbling, but I do it for the kids. Like, really, without the kids, without your team being on the field, Coach, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So it's the kids, it's you, it's your staff, it's the school, it's everybody that is involved at Mission Prep to allow me to do what I do that makes me happy. And I appreciate that, Coach. And I appreciate you being with me all season long with this coaches show. We did it on a whim. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be one show. I don't know if it's going to be 10 shows. But what do you know? We actually made it to 13 episodes. So I think we got a full season in, according to network television.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great, Coach, that you were here with me all season long. And I hope that we return next season with another season of the Coaches Show with you. I want to ask you this, as we move on to season 2, we will be moving to basketball, and Terrence Harris will be taking over the coach's chair for the Coaches Show in season 2. Do you have any words of advice to be on the Coaches Show? Anything that Terrence Harris might need to know coming into the Coaches Show that, outside of coaching and just being on the show?
Answer the questions however you want, I guess.
Just be genuine.
I got great love for Terrence. He's been a major supporter of me, and I've been a huge supporter of his. And we're in a unique position where we share a lot of athletes, and we both run really, really high level programs. And so it's taken a lot of coordination and a lot of patience with each other. And over the years, I think he and I have really developed a lot of respect and appreciation and love for each other. I've really got a lot of love for the entire Harris family. Darnell's on my staff. Carlisha runs the school, to be honest. She is the boss. And there's just so many other aspects of their whole family that are just, they're a legacy family at Mission Prep. They're very special people. And, Terrence is a great representation of our school and our community. And I think he'll do an incredible job kind of continuing on this coaches show. He's very articulate. He's he's been doing this a little longer than I have, and so I'm excited to hear what he has to say. And he's fully capable of handling this thing. And so I don't know if I have any advice for him, because I think he's probably got his own vision and his own way of how he wants us to go. And
I figure I'd throw it out there, give it a shot. For those interested in Mission Prep men's basketball, the season starts Friday, December 3rd. And you talk about that coordination. That coordination with players is reason the season starts so late for Mission Prep, because other teams are already playing basketball, but Mission Prep plans it out. Okay, our football team has a playoff run. It should end about this time, so we can get into basketball about this time and not be missing players. And that's what has happened here, because if you would have made a full playoff run, you'd be playing the day after Thanksgiving for a championship. That's the championship week for CIF Central Section, and then December 3rd would be basketball.
Well, I mean, if we're ever in this position, and I hope one day we are,
me too,
where we get to go compete for a state title, that would be second week of December. So Terrence and I every year have a conversation about kind of what we're looking at, and we build our calendar in the summer. Like, we really don't do a whole lot of 7-on-7s. We don't do very many tournaments for football, and one of the main reasons for that is to kind of allow for other sports to do some other things during the summer. And so we all have to share athletes, and I think one of the things I love most about Mission Prep is the community, and the fact that everyone in the community has very much the same mind and the same goals. And whether it's the teachers, the staff, the faculty, are unparalleled. They're actually, according to a website, they're ranked as the highest rated staff and faculty on the Central Coast. And then when it comes to the coaches, we've got some incredible coaches who've got incredible backgrounds, and everyone's got every reason to sit there and have an ego and go, yeah, hey, this is my background and it should be my program and I should do this. And I think everyone does a great job of understanding we got a bigger goal here and a bigger vision, and everyone shares and works and coordinates together to make this thing truly special for everybody, for our community. I think it's why you've seen Mission Prep in the last 2 years in particular really have great success across the board, with softball winning and volleyball having success, and girls basketball just started, and they're getting after it. Obviously football and basketball have been staples for a while, but to do it at a small school like ours, you really got to coordinate it very in a real specific way, and it makes me very proud to be associated with Mission Prep.
And I look at it from the outside, because I'm not associated directly with Mission Prep as you are, Coach, is that the focus is the student athlete or the student at Mission Prep. It's not the staff. It's not everything else that goes along with being at a school. I feel like the administration, everybody focuses on what's best for the student and the coordination that you talk about. Because I've been around a couple, 3 years, I see it, the shuffling back and forth and trying to, between the transition between seasons and making everything work. And I really believe that it's about the student first and foremost and what's best for them and getting them through the process of being a student athlete and making sure they're healthy in that process of transitioning sports as well. So I applaud you guys for everything you do at Mission Prep. Not only you, but the coaching staff, Kevin Hitchin, Mike Susink, the principal, and all the way down. There's so many people I don't even know, but I enjoy it, and I thank everybody. One quick thank you I want to throw out there is to Karen Bowden and Thomas Bowden. Thomas was our cameraman all season long, tried and true to the very end. We want to thank him for his efforts, and hopefully he'll be back next fall with us to continue football broadcasting. So thank you, Thomas, for all you've done for us, and we'll see you soon. And the schedule for men's basketball coming up on prepsportsnetworks.com, Coach, if you want to follow along, is Friday, December 3rd. The Royals are at the St. Joseph Knights Hoops at the Coast Tournament, facing the Bradshaw Christian, the Pride, at 7 p.m. Bradshaw Christian, the Pride at 7 p.m. And then Saturday, the 4th, they return home for their home opener against Fresno Central Grizzlies. That's a 5 p.m. tip-off. Both will be live on prepsportsnetworks.com with video. So we're excited about that, to have a full season of basketball this year with our video production on PSNtv. Coach, any final words from you before we part for the season?
Yeah, I do very really quickly want to say, number one, thank you to everybody for this community this year really rallied in a special way and kind of elevated everything. I want to thank this team, and we're gonna have our banquet, and we're gonna have some other events kind of to tie up this year separately offline that I think will really speak volumes about what this team did this year. They honestly they broke history and they broke the mold about Mission Prep, and they elevated everything about this school and the conversation about this school. But before I go any farther, I do want to take a quick moment to thank my staff. I hope everyone understands my staff and I have been grinding and working nonstop since September 2020, when we finally got the opportunity from the county to start doing these really, really weird regulated COVID workouts. The football staff trained everybody else in the school, and my staff was here every single day, actively working, actively doing these things, and really trying to make sure the school and the community rallied and got to a place where we could compete if that day ever came. And then that day finally came, and we did that nonstop all the way through. And then we got to the spring COVID season. That was at no point did our staff ever really have an opportunity to stop working. We worked all the way through February. March, we start getting ready for our football season, our padded up football season. And that finished, then we had like a week or two, and then our summer hit, and the staff worked nonstop through the summer and really tried to get ready for this upcoming season. And so honestly, up until Bakersfield was done and we got on the bus and we drove back home, that was the first time as a staff we had no other duties that we had to do. It was very much just get home, get the gear out, and go home. And I want to make sure everyone understands. I want to really, really thank Deanna Elmrick and Stacy White, our team moms, who did incredible job coordinating everything. I want to thank Tyler Gray, Kevin Hitchen, our AD, John Hitchen, Eric Perry, Robert Crandall, Matt and Kurt Heinke, Gunny Rodriguez, Edgar Murillo, Joey Lopez, Mike Sharp, Josh Tremetti, Doug May, and Father Russ. They have been grinding nonstop, and we told the team we're going to take some time off. You need to take some time off. Everyone has been putting in some serious work, and I'm so thankful and so proud that we have kind of accomplished what we've accomplished in the last, frankly, year and a half. It doesn't happen unless I got a great staff and a committed staff who believes in our vision and the community rally support. This year, really, probably the moment that sums it up best was our bus broke down, and within minutes, we've got almost every freaking car on the freeway pulled to the side. Everyone from Mission Prep is there. What gear can we grab? What kids do we need to take? What do we got to do? And we've got everyone rallying and just surrounding the team and just going, hey, we're all in. What do we got to do to make this thing happen? And it sets the tone for a great year next year. So thankful, so excited, and I'm so thankful and happy to be the head football coach at Mission Prep. Can't wait to get after it next year. This team was uncommon. You were uncommon as well, Brian, and the network and everything you guys did for us this year. So thank you again, and God's favor to all of you.
And Coach, final question of the day. What does vacation look like for you, Coach, after this?
I don't know if I want to say that out loud. Well, we're gonna take a couple trips. I owe my wife and my kids. At very least, we've had no trips, no opportunity to really have a break, and so we're gonna take a couple trips here the next couple months. And obviously we'll go down and see family during Thanksgiving. I think I want to try to do some sort of. I find a lot of peace and comfort up in the mountains. And so we're going to probably head up to the mountains and find a good spot for us up there, and probably do one other trip somewhere else and make something. Really try to find a way to build in some breaks and some peace for us as a family. So, but
you deserve it, Coach. You deserve it. You've worked hard the last year and a half through COVID. A lot of people have, and things are finally easing up for some people, including you, Coach. So take the moment, take a deep breath, and take a relaxation. And that'll be it for the Coaches Show. We'll be back next year with David Schuster. Coming up real soon is Terrence Harris in season 2. I'm Brian Stanley for David Schuster, Chris Sylvester. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.